Hi, welcome to the channel. So today I'm finishing my reaction to the Beer Biceps podcast, Major Vivek Jacob again, Para SF Special Indian Military Legend. Let's get to it.
Do you want to talk now about Siachen?
Yeah, we can talk about Siachen.
Okay. Why were you posted there? Because as far as I know, immediately after your NDA training, you were a part of the Special Forces.
Immediately after NDA IMA.
Yeah.
Immediately after training, basically.
And out of everything you saw in your whole career, that was the most intense.
Yeah, that's a difficult place to survive and work in.
Okay.
Extremely difficult place to work in.
How do you even begin to describe that level of cold, those kind of temperatures, to someone who's not experienced it?
But there's this video, I don't know how many people have seen it. There's this video floating around the internet. I saw it some while back. There's this group of Indian soldiers and they've got various vegetables kept on a table outside the tent, and they got a hammer. And there's like an egg and they're hitting the egg with the hammer and nothing is happening to it. They're hitting the potato with the hammer. They're hitting the tomato with a hammer, but it's rock solid. It's that frozen, right?
Have you guys seen that video? If so, drop it in the comments.
So it's like a stone. Everything becomes like stone there. You know, like you have water and you throw it, it'll freeze in the air. It's like that. So it's that cold. It's like living inside a fridge.
What if you cry there? If you cry when you're outside?
A fridge? That would be like living inside a freezer.
There's often you'll sweat also. It all starts forming icicles around like that. Everything will collect on your beard and it'll all collect everywhere and it'll become frozen like that.
What does your skin feel? The part of your skin that's exposed?
It's like it burns and then becomes sensationless, you know, like that for some time. Yeah.
Okay. And what else?
So it's just the whole environment. See, ultimately, difficult or not difficult is in your head, right? And of course, it has a lot to do with the reality that you are existing in. It's how you perceive reality is how difficult or easy it would be to exist in any kind of circumstances, including the glacier. The glacier itself is it's full of things that could go wrong. Right? The whole setting it's like that. You know, there could be enemy action. There could, in terms of actual raids, from the enemy. There could be, you know, arty shells which are falling there, and like, I don't know. You have to be on the receiving side of an artillery shelling to realize what it is.
The enemy he's talking about, I'm pretty sure, is Pakistan.
Terror in supreme form. So
why?
Well, when an artillery shell comes, you can hear it whistle, like when it's flying in the air, and you can, you know, hear it whistle like a motor or an arty shell which is coming. So, and when it falls and it explodes, it's the sound of horror. It's like that. It's something you have to hear to understand what it is.
If you want to get an idea of how scary it is to be on the receiving end of an arty strike, then go watch the miniseries Band of Brothers. I think it was episode 7, The Breaking Point, where they were in the Battle of the Bulge, and they showed Easy Company's position being attacked by arty fire, and it was so scary. I can't imagine going through that.
And you're like judging it, and it could fall anywhere. It's anybody's game. You know, you're just sitting and so as long as you're hearing it, it's great. As long as you can hear the whistle, means it's going to fly off above you. But if it comes like, you know, comes like a whistle and the whistle stops, it's coming for you. It's like I'm going to fall around somewhere. So it's like that. So that's a terrifying place to be in.
Sorry to stop the video, but this reminds me of a story of when I was on guard duty in Iraq. We were on guard duty at the KBR gate, so we had no body armor and no helmet, and suddenly we heard a right over our head. We thought whatever it was going to land on us, and we both dove to the ground. It turns out someone had fired a rocket or an RPG or something from outside the green zone. By the time we heard it, it had already passed us by. But at the time, we had no idea. All I remember is being scared and my adrenaline going sky high.
You've been a part of it?
I have experienced shelling very, very closely, yes.
And the first...
It's like my bed, like if this is my bed, there's an artillery shell which has fallen just outside, hit the tree, and it has exploded. And all the so what happens is it's a huge piece of metal, right? And metal has got explosive inside it. So when the explosion happens, the metal disintegrates, and the heat generated is so high, the metal melts. So and it flies in infinite set of directions, and the metal, when it's flying, it's the edges are molten, so it becomes like razor blades. It's all razor blades flying around. It's like that. So this is my bed. So just above in one line, like that, there was an entire line of sharpness which was just hit above the wall above my bed. So that's the closest I've been. But more than that, see, death happens in combat, and in this thing, it happens instantaneously. It's not the death that's the problem. It's before that's the problem. So when shelling starts off, and that time you can hear it flying, boom, 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 happening, and then you can hear the boom, boom, boom coming closer as the they focus onto somebody guides the artillery fire and things like that. So
Zeroing in.
so you can hear it coming closer, and the sound of it is something, it's indescribable. It's terror, horror. Yeah.
Is that the most fear you ever felt? Most fear as compared to any other mission?
Beyond that was, I think, last time when I mentioned that I had got caught. So then I looked, and that guy was looking at me, and there was nothing I could do. So that's where I felt the most intense fear.
That's a personal question I've also always had. I'm assuming that you can't speak about it, so I won't probe too much.
Please. You ask, I'll tell you what I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think we know how you got out of that situation, because you just mentioned it. You mentioned that you were caught by terrorists, basically.
I was not caught, but I was caught in a position where there was nowhere I could go. I was stuck on a cliff, and I was basically hanging onto the side of that cliff. There was a deep drop below me. There was a waterfall on my, and I was just stuck to grass. There was a grass coming out of the rock. I was holding onto that grass. I had a heavy rucksack on my back. My weapon was on my back.
For more context for the story, please go ahead and check out the first time that Major Jacob was actually on this podcast, and I will link it down below and possibly at the end of this video.
I was testing out some new shoes that day, and they were slipping like hell. There were some fancy shoes which came from somewhere, and we were testing it out, and they was just slipping, and there was just this much ledge of rock on which I was standing, and I was like Spider-Man there, and just suddenly I look at this guy looking at me, and it's over. So it's like that.
But
so
why are you still here?
That I have asked myself often, and what I came up with this is that there is an alternative form of reality which we don't realize, and probably that is what the truth is. So it was an impossible situation basically, and there is no way out. It's over. It's just over. There is no getting out of that. But as I said today, the exact opposite of what should have happened is what happened. There is 0% chance of of anybody getting out of that. There's no chance. There is just no chance. But the exact opposite of that happened, where I was caught, and the reverse happened, right? Now at that point, I mentioned that I had a flash, that near-death experience, what science calls nowadays, where, there's like a burst of DMT in your, brain.
You've
and all
experienced that.
That's when the life flash happens, no? When you see
in that moment where you saw him?
Yeah, that moment.
Was his gun pointed at you?
I just saw his eyes, and the rest is all... It's the situation. They're always carrying guns. They don't move around without guns. It's like that. So yeah. So anyway, so that point when the flash happened, then entire life, I saw my entire life like a photo album, and each photograph had videos and videos and videos I saw my entire life in a flash.
But time dilation also happened.
That's time dilation only. Basically, how can you see your entire life that you have lived for 20, 25 years and see all of your 25 years in no time? It was not a second or 2 seconds or half a second. It was just no time.
You had a micro ayahuasca experience.
Later on I realized it's like a burst happening inside your head, in your pineal gland or whatever.
We will continue the story. I want to know more about this point.
Micro what?
What is it actually like, seeing your life flash before your eyes? Is it pleasurable? Is it painful?
There is no emotion. There is no judgment. There is no emotion. There is no judgment. There is no regret. There is no guilt. There is no nothing. It's an observation, detached observation. It just flashes. That's it. There is no missing anyone or guilt that you're carrying. Oh, I didn't do that correctly. Oh, that was wrong. That was right. That was great. This was bad. No, it's just emotionless observation of life, entire life.
Episodes like this teach Indians everywhere about what the Indian Armed Forces are. I'll let you go on.
Any human being, be it in the armed forces, be it from any nation, be it from any profession, is ultimately the same damn thing. It's consciousness expressing itself in infinite number of forms spread over time and space, right? Same damn thing opened up into infinity. So basically nothing and everything is same only. That's what it means. But we can't, because the mind can't fathom what that means. So we are stuck in duality and we keep seeing things like this rather than like that. So that's the difference. So, but in the soldier's life, any soldier who has been in active combat, what happens in active combat is that there is a choice you are making to go into chaos where you could most likely lose your life. There's, like I say, as per a law of averages, it's a 50-50. So, if you really want to try and crystallize it. So any soldier from any country, from any place, specifically if I want to talk about soldiers who have been in, those soldiers who have been in combat, they would experience these kind of things. And once the experiences happen, then the reflection happens and then the realization happens, right? So the more intense combat, the more intense situations that you have been in, and the more life and death that you have seen, at some point you'll start getting your answers about what's going on. But the same thing happens in other places also, in other professions also, in other these things also. So like that. And yes, the reason why I'm speaking about it is also because most of us live in a world where we don't have the answers for these things. We don't have the experiences of these things. So maybe it would help some people out of great complex things going on in the mind to snap out of it. That's it.
Came out a different person after that flash.
The different the flash so basically how I look back at it now in hindsight is that so all possibilities in our universe, it's called the Brahman, right? So it's a Brahm. The Brahm is the illusion or the dream. So basically all of reality is an illusion. It's a dream. It's like how it's portrayed in our ancient wisdom also. It's like how Vishnu is lying down and he's sleeping and he's dreaming the cosmos, right? That's how it has been depicted. And actually, if you connect it back with reality, and actually from where I see it, that's exactly what's going on. So we are individual personalities which have manifested from a source. Let's call that source Vishnu, and so Vishnu is dreaming and we are all characters in the dream. But where is all these characters in the dream coming from? They're coming from Vishnu's consciousness only. All these characters, even though they seem very, like, for example, in a dream that you're having like when you go to sleep and you have a dream. So in that dream, you will meet people, you will meet various kind of personalities. With those personalities, you will have various kinds of interactions. Some may be terrifying, some may be very blissful. You may even experience love with someone, and all of these various things which happen when you're dreaming, right? But ultimately, it's, what is it? When you are in the dream, all of that is real. All the circumstances that you are facing in the dream, all the people that you are meeting in the dream, all the emotions you are feeling in the dream, the fear, the joy, whatever you are feeling in the dream, all of that is very, very real at that point of time when you're dreaming. It's very, very real for you. But when you wake up from that dream, you realize, oh, it was all a dream. And where was all of this dream happening? Where were all these characters who seemed as real as this reality? All those circumstances uh, which you were facing in the dream during the dream felt as real as this reality. All the emotions that you felt when the dream was going on was as real as this reality. But when you wake up, you realize, oh, it was just a dream. When the dream was going on, it was real. So this is my crux of my understanding of our experience as humans, as what's going on right now, that we are in a dream, the dream in a cosmic mind, and we're just meeting various people in various circumstances, various emotions, all feels very real. So when you snap out of it, you'll realize it's a real illusion. The thing about what has to be understood is that it's moldable. Since the dream is happening in your head only, so at some point, once you realize that it's a dream, then you can dream the dream you wish to dream.
I have to take you back to that moment, sir.
Yeah, please, sorry.
To go back to what he was saying about his life flashing before his eyes, have any of you actually had that experience? If you want to share, then please drop it in the comments.
What happened once you got out of the flash?
So all possibilities. The universe is infinite in its nature, and all possibilities exist simultaneously.
Multiverse.
Right? All possibilities. That's what's called the multiverse, if you may. So all possibilities exist simultaneously, and it's like a matrix, right? So like how a video game is coded in ones and zeros, right? If not this, then that. If that, then this, then that. That's how it's logic, right? So that's how life also unfolds. So at each and every step of each and every moment as you experience, there are infinite set of possibilities that can happen. For example, you and me sitting here, our conversation may go this way, may go that way, something may get triggered to raise some other topic or anything can happen. Infinite set of possibilities. There could be a earthquake and this whole building could go down. Anything. There could be a terrorist attack on this building. An infinite set of possibilities exist. But when you are at the cutting edge of this life and death, that near death experience, of that line, at that point of time, it's again, you either experience this reality or you experience that reality. But consciousness never dies. It was never born, so it never dies, right? Do you remember when you were born? You don't. So in some reality, there is a portrait on the wall, and there is a mala chada hua on that, and then people are some people may saying, oh, he was a great guy, he was very brave, and this, that, and some people are going, oh, he was this, that, whatever. There are various opinions and judgments people will be having, and they'll be experiencing joy, sorrow, relief, or nothing, no association at all. So at that point of time, when the burst happens or happened, or so in one reality that has happened, and these other realities, what is this is going on. So it's like
this
that.
Is the reality where you survived.
Yeah.
How did you survive?
How did I survive? Well, everything turned on its head from where it was to what happened. I'd rather not talk about it. Yeah.
Someone else took him out.
No.
He just chose not to shoot.
At that point, yes. For some reasons. So yeah, see, the thing is, the lesson to be taken from that, it's not the incident itself.
Okay. Okay. So it's still a mystery how you survived. That's okay. That's respect for the Indian Armed Forces. That's fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Respect for everyone, in fact, for our, it's like I said, when situations like that, judgment is, when you create judgment or when you operate on judgment, you limit your experience to what you think it is. And that's your ego, which is creating differentiation through judgment. And you say, this is right, that is wrong, he's less, I am more, all of that. And that's where suffering happens. And that's where all the drama and the unreality of reality is.
Okay.
So when you step back and zoom out and you look at things beyond judgment, is where you can get the actual picture of what is. So the more observational in nature you are, the more aware you will be. And therefore, the more easily and simply you can manifest your physicality, you can make choices, you can make them instinctively. You don't have to think about it. It happens.
I'm glad that Ranveer stopped pushing him. As I said, with veterans, you want to tread lightly and not pressure them into talking about experiences that they may not feel comfortable sharing.
Correct me now wherever I'm wrong. I'm going to try to break down partially, like a bit. There's no way I'll know your perspective, but this is the perspective I've learned from you as well as the other vets who've been on the show. If there is a combat situation that you find yourself in, firstly, it happens in a flash. Your body and your mind go automatically into flow state based on your years of training. Your weapon is an extension of your own body. At the same time, if you're a great soldier, you'll be extremely aware of your surroundings and aware of what your advantages and disadvantages are. You'll make that calculation very fast. Now I'm assuming that the enemy begins to fire on you. You have to be extremely aware, but you have to also take them out because they're trying to take you out. This is where my civilian mind stops its understanding. What happens after this point? Too many factors? Or like how do you figure I want to take down that guy? Because I'm assuming you are behind cover, even they are behind cover. Now what do you do?
So what happens is, again, there's a direct correlation with any kind of life out here, any profession, any kind of life, any human being. There's a direct correlation. So like, for example, the situation that you have described is a combat situation in which you're stuck, you're spotted, and you're being fired upon, and you have to, kill or be killed is where you are, right? So in the civil world, you will find yourself in many such circumstances. It may not be kill or get killed, but intense, where success and failure is happening, right? For example, AJIO. The key to, so it's basically chaos happening. Now it's all out of your control, right? Everything is out of your control. When a bullet starts flying, when multiple bullets start flying, basically what is happening is the bullets, till the time they have not hit anything, till the time they have not touched anything, they're flying in a straight line to a certain distance, right? And they're flying at an extremely high speeds, right? So when a bullet, till the time it has not touched anything or hit anything solid, it's flying in a straight line. But once, and you're generally operating in mountains, and there's a lot of terrain, there are trees, there are big rocks, boulders, etc. So when a hail of bullet comes, so the bullets start ricocheting, they start bouncing off stuff, and they're just flying around everywhere, and you can't see it. It's so fast. Bullets are flying. You can't see a bullet flying, right? But it's there in the air. You can hear tap 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 pat 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 pat, and you can just see mud rising small and pat 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 karke, and like that you can see all of that, and you can hear all that is going on. So it's basically chaos. There's death flying around in the air, and you are in the dimension of death. So in that dimension, there is complete chaos. Anything can happen any moment, right? Now at that point of time, you have come with a very clear objective of what you have come to do. It may not be to destroy it, maybe to surveil it, maybe to this, maybe to that, maybe you just whatever. So whatever is happening in that middle of the dimension of death, at that point of time, it is awareness. So there is an infinite set of possibilities constantly floating around everyone. In those infinite set of possibilities, there are certain opportunities, and there are certain things which will finish you off, right? Where does survival come from? Survival comes from being aware of the opportunities that are around you, so that you can pick that opportunity that works for you and then go for it. So how do you become aware of any situation? By firstly surrendering to the truth of that situation. The truth of that situation is it's anybody's game. So you understand that it is anybody's game now. Now, once you have understood that it's anybody's game, and you have accepted that you can die and it can be over in a flash, is when, and you're still alive and you're still around after having realized that, is then when you can objectively look at the circumstances that you are in, and then you can see the various infinite set of possibilities that are inside you, and your mind will click onto that exact damn one thing out of that infinity that is flying around you. You can pick up that one particular thing that is going to change the game and get you out on top.
Could you give an example of what that one thing could be?
It could be one thing. It could be a variety of various things in a certain design that you execute. You do this, and truck. This game is changed. So I can answer this, but I'd rather not, yeah.
We're almost at the end of the episode. This has been a good, thick, long conversation.
Really?
So an example of what I think he's talking about would be if your unit was actually pinned down by a sniper on a rooftop, for example, you decide that you have to take out the sniper and that will neutralize the threat. So what do? You get your soldier who has a Carl Gustav and actually take him out.
What do you think of today?
Nice.
Okay.
Expected. Nice to meet again. Nice to go further. See, it's a journey. So we think that we are meeting by accident. We think we are meeting. It's just happened by itself, and of course it has. The universe does not require any reason to exist. Right? It just is. But there's another way to look at it. When you say that it's basically one thing that's split into infinite set of parts, and then we are journeying together. So it's not about who's greater, smaller, lesser, more beneficial to whom, this, that. What I've realized is the energy firstly itself is an illusion, but when but if everything becomes an illusion, then where is life? And life is precious. Life is life. It is the lack of death. So it's life. And in life, there are opportunities for love and this and to experience. I mean, imagine not having a life. You wouldn't have experienced your mother, right? You wouldn't have experienced the relationship that you have with your mother. You wouldn't have experienced the relationship with yourself that is ever growing now. All these various books that you get to read, all these people that you get to meet, and all these things that you're coming to know, all of this doesn't happen in non-existence. All of this is happening in existence itself. So one way of life is going through life through your mind, through separation and division and this and that, and thinking who's upper and lower and things. And maybe I gave this guy more than what he has given me, and that kind of perception. If that's how your neural network is wired, you will experience life like that. But then there is a separate perception of life where you see that the exchange of energy between any two human beings is like, you may be a Raja and you may meet a beggar on the street, and you give that beggar, let's say, $10,000, and that beggar just gives you a smile, right? The exchange of energy, that smile is exactly what you needed at that point of time, and that $10,000 is exactly what you needed at that point of time. So therefore, the exchange of energy is equal. So many people don't understand that. Even I didn't understand, but now I do, because I've reflected back. So it makes life much more simpler. So it's just a journey of experiences happening between the same thing which is split into so many parts. So ultimately, you, me, him, I, AJIO, this, that, even the circumstances, everything that we are in, it can be experienced as division and low and this and that, or it can be experienced as merging happening, love happening, and that's the point. That's the highest feeling. Yeah. So we will keep meeting in life, and as we keep meeting, we go, oh, you changed. It'll keep happening like that. Yeah. No? So like that. Yeah, that'll be fun, no?
Yeah. Maybe for the last segment,
we will create magic together.
I think we already have in some ways.
We have. There's so many people who have written to me from around the world after that. Yeah.
I think this episode will create a even deeper impact. Your truth has been revealed in like this episode. There is one episode left though. You know what that one's going to be about. We spoke about it briefly here.
That is some shit, yeah.
So, while I wish to ask you a lot about Claw on a personal level and everything you guys have done with it, we have covered a lot of it on the second episode we had done.
Yeah.
Do you have any quick updates for the listeners on how they can help you in your journey right now?
So it's not about giving help or receiving help. It is about doing what makes sense to you. So we are doing what we're doing right now is Soul of Steel. Soul of Steel is a design which is based out of the past military mountaineering experiences and combat experiences and all the experiences that we had in the SF and what's going on in the outside adventure mountaineering field. So combination of the best skill sets from both these fields, the best mindsets coming from both these fields, merging and creating a hybrid, which has not only got applications in the mountains, like we're teaching, not only are we teaching mountaineering, we're teaching unarmed combat, we're teaching emergency medical first response, we're teaching survival skills, we're teaching navigation, we're teaching a bunch of skill sets which come together and putting into a certain situation where you will learn all of this, and then you will be faced with real situations out there in the wild, in the mountains, in high altitude. You will cross crevasses, you will have all this, and you would have the skills to do it, and then you will open up to new experiences, and those experiences will unleash your realization of your own self, and you will be a better human being, and then you'll come out into the world and you'll be a secure person, and and you will spread that security in other people. That's Soul of Steel.
Okay.
That's what we are doing. This entire Soul of Steel is focused at creating human ability biomes. Basically, what I have come to understand from my life is that everybody has a God inside them, and that God is the same. Now, the journey of life is to realize that godliness within you. What is God? God is a supreme consciousness with supreme ability, supreme realization. That's God, right? So there is that supreme ability, supreme realization, supreme consciousness is lying hidden within all of us. It's just inside of us. It's just there. But the mind is what takes us away from it, and we feel limited in body and mind. But there is a way. What we believe is that if we can create the certain set of circumstances, we can create certain, when I say circumstances, I mean the infrastructure, the skill sets, the kind of vibe, those kind of people coming together, and we create. So that's what the human ability biome is. We believe that this potential capability can be realized by interacting with the outside world in a certain manner. So the human ability biome is for that, where right from people with disabilities to Olympic athletes can come and dive into situations which will open up themselves only further for their mind to understand who they are and realize it, and become more open human beings, and spread love, joy, and peace and capability in the world.
That's right. So, I guess I wish you all the luck.
Thank you.
For every last thing that you're doing at this stage. You've done a crazy amount of stuff for the country. I can't even begin to thank you for everything you've done for India. So, before I let you go, I will salute you and salute everything you've done. I don't know if I saluted you the first time we spoke, but it was definitely in my heart. And this is the time I get to salute you.
Fantastic team, great guys you got.
Thank you, so means a lot. I want to thank you for coming to the studio, giving us another epic podcast. And I will only say the third of many more to come.
Roger that.
Thank you.
All right.
So first of all, thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this podcast and my reaction to it. But my utmost respect to Major Jacob. It's always a privilege to actually hear him speak. I really enjoyed listening to the stories about the animals and about combat. And it was also very interesting to actually hear the spiritual side of him. Before you guys click away from this video, why don't you check out this one? It's another military themed podcast.